Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite shortcuts for mixing skin tones and understanding value with gouache. We'll keep things simple and beginner friendly so that you guys don't get too overwhelmed or discouraged like I did when using gouache. Let's dive right into it. Observe these images that you can see with 3 different skin tones. Right from the get-go, you would think that they would be made of beige if not browns, but as you zoom in with the pixels, you will see that they're composed of different colors. So the same concept will be applied when you're painting with gouache. Now we've made that clear, let's talk about my shortcuts. Most tutorials will tell you to start by mixing red, blue, and yellow with a bit of black and white to create skin tones. And while that's a great skill to learn later on, it can be really tricky at first and often lead to muddy colors. That kind of frustration can make beginners want to give up, so let's not go there just yet. Instead, we'll make things easier by using the colors that already come in your gouache sets. It's a simple shortcut to help you start strong and actually enjoy the process. So here are my choice of colors: ultramarine, burnt umber, yellow ochre, and white. And as add-on colors, viridian, alizarin crimson, and lilac. With these colors, it'll be easier for you to mix skin tones and avoid getting the muddy colors. Let's begin. Let's start by adding yellow, which is our yellow ochre, and our red, which is our burnt umber. Notice how it produces a nice shade of orange or like a fleshy skin tone color. It's only a matter of adding more or adjusting the colors as you see fit, but this is usually what I start with as my base. Later, I will add the ultramarine to cool down the skin tone, as you can see here. Check out how beautiful that shade is. It's so easy to play around with this color and move on from different shades. Now let's create a gradient just by adding white. See how it lightens the minute you start adding white without making it look like fake skin? With just this, you're going to be able to create your own varied gradients by adjusting it with adding a little bit more yellow or a little bit more brown. It's up to you. But for now, you can practice with just this shade and add white to it. You will be able to create a gradient, a beautiful gradient like this. Now let's work on the darker shade where we added the ultramarine blue. Notice how here the color cooled down a little bit, but since I'm not satisfied and I actually ran out of paint, I'm gonna make some more and do the same thing and apply it on the paper later on. See how this color is a little bit more cool compared to the one earlier or the one above. Now it's only a matter of adding whites to create my gradient as well. So much like how I did it in the first row, I'll be doing the same process here. This is why I think it's important for beginners to start with these colors. That way, you're not going to be too scared. Once you master this one, then you can move on to the harder ones where you start with the primary colors. So now let's continue to mix colors and make more skin tone shades. See which colors that I will be using to mix whatever shade, and then you can explore it on your own as well. I'll leave you guys for a bit and see you in the next segment, but for those who are interested, please continue watching and enjoy. So now let's talk about values, which is just a fancy word for light and dark. Just keep this in mind. Light colors will make an object pop out of the picture, while the dark colors will make them sink into the picture. I'm so grateful that the camera kept autofocusing here because you guys can see how when squinting or when it gets blurry, it's easier to see the value if it's correct or not. See how the dark colors sink and make it look 3D, while the light colors make it pop. One way to create value is simply by adding water. Gouache is naturally opaque, and the more you add water, the lighter it becomes. The less water you use, the more opaque it becomes, or the darker it is. Now imagine these colors as our light and dark shades. Now, both ends of the spectrum, that will be your darkest, and while the other side will be your lightest. Now using the exact same base, it's only a matter of adding white to make it lighter, and adding black to make it darker. So see how I will be creating the gradients just by adding white. So you can apply this method with any kind of color, including skin tone. Now here's another simple practice that you guys can play around with. Try painting a strip of the same color. In this case, I used green, red, and ultramarine blue. Now try adding strips of white across it. See how you can easily create value just by adding white on top of it. Even if it's already dry, gouache can be reactivated, so you can blend colors further. This is how I actually sometimes build up color when it comes to my portrait paintings. Even if I make mistakes, I can just cover it up and then layer it one on top of the other. You can go from light to dark or dark to light, it doesn't matter. Every skin tone is beautiful and unique. For darker skin, use more blues and reds. For olive or cooler tones, a tiny dab of green or lilac can work wonders. Just mix gradually and test it before committing to your painting. If not, if you make a mistake, it's fine because gouache can be layered on top of the other. Now, if you're having a hard time with layering different colors, I suggest you go back to the basics where you focus on one color so that you only have two sets of values, which would be your lightest color of that shade and the darkest color. It's simply adding black to that shade and adding white to make it lighter for that same shade.